Have you ever wondered if your body or the body of a loved one is quietly sending out signals that the end of life is approaching? Friends, loved ones, neighbors, many of them show signs long before their final days. But the truth is that most people miss them, not from ignorance, but because they don't know what to look for. Today I want to share 7 powerful warning signs that doctors often recognize as clear indications that an elderly person may be entering their final months of life. These aren't just signs of aging, these are significant physical, emotional, and behavioral changes that deserve your full attention. And yes, they're scary, but it's better to face them with clarity than to be caught off guard by what's to come. This isn't about giving up hope, it's about awareness, compassion, and preparation. Let's begin. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed, I encourage you to hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss a health tip created just for you. If you like this video, enter a 1 in the comments section. If not, enter a 0 to let me know how I can create better content for you. 1. Unexplained sudden weight loss. There's something disconcerting about watching the numbers on the scale drop, especially when you haven't changed your eating habits or lifestyle. For many older adults, weight loss might seem like a welcome surprise, even a relief after years of battling stubborn pounds. But when those pounds melt away for no reason, it can be a silent scream from within, a hidden warning that something much more serious is unfolding. You see, the human body is honest. As we age, it whispers before it shouts. Unintentional weight loss, especially in the elderly, is one of those whispers that too many of us overlook. It doesn't always come with pain or fever or dramatic symptoms. It's quiet, slow, even subtle. One day your favorite sweater feels a little looser. The next month you're tightening your belt to the last notch, and you haven't been trying to lose weight at all. For the elderly, this can be one of the earliest physical signs that the body is entering a state of decline. It might suggest that major organs, like the liver, kidneys, or heart, are no longer functioning at full capacity. It could point to a slow-growing cancer, chronic malabsorption, or progressive conditions like COPD or heart failure. More often than not, it's the result of the body struggling to maintain balance, slowly breaking down muscle and fat in an attempt to survive. What makes this sign so dangerous is how easy it is to dismiss. Friends might tell you how great you look, when in reality your body is weakening. You might find yourself lacking the energy to carry groceries, or having difficulty getting out of a chair. What seems like just getting older might actually be the body quietly surrendering, retreating from life. And yet, weight loss is rarely just physical. It's emotional. It strips away not just body mass, but also spirit. Meals become smaller, interest in food wanes, and what once brought joy, family dinners, sweet treats, warm soup, feels more like a chore than a pleasure. If you or someone you love is experiencing unexplained weight loss, don't wait. Don't dismiss it. It may be the body's way of saying pay attention, because what comes next may be even more alarming when fatigue settles in, not just in the body, but deep within the soul. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment a 1 below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number 2. 2. Extreme fatigue and withdrawal from life. There's a kind of tiredness that sleep can't touch. It seeps into the bones, into the heart, into a person's very spirit. For many older adults nearing the end of their lives, this isn't just fatigue, it's a profound exhaustion that signals something deeper, something that the body can no longer hide. You might notice it slowly, like a fading light. The person who once loved gardening now quietly gazes out the window. The person who used to wake up early, eager to make coffee and read the paper, now sleeps most of the day. Invitations go unanswered, phone calls are ignored, conversations grow shorter and then fade away. What looks like apathy is often the body and mind preparing to withdraw, to conserve energy for a battle it knows it can no longer win. This withdrawal isn't just physical. It's emotional, even spiritual. Elderly people entering this phase may start losing interest in things that once gave them purpose, family gatherings, hobbies, old routines. They may stop asking questions, stop making plans, stop dreaming. And while this shift might seem subtle at first, it can escalate quickly, leaving loved ones bewildered and worried. The danger here lies not in the fatigue itself, but in what it represents. Extreme fatigue is often a sign that vital systems are slowing down. The heart might be struggling to pump efficiently, the lungs might not be delivering enough oxygen, the brain might be starved of the clarity it once had. This kind of exhaustion isn't fixed with a nap or a good night's sleep. It's a signal that the body is quietly retreating from life. From the demands of living, loved ones might try to encourage participation, rekindle old passions, but often the person simply doesn't have the strength or the will to respond. It's heartbreaking to witness. Yet this withdrawal isn't always a sign of giving up. Sometimes it's the body's quiet preparation for what lies ahead. And just when you think that it couldn't get more troubling, something even more alarming might start to appear when the very act of breathing becomes a struggle even in moments of stillness. 3. Shortness of breath, even at rest. There comes a moment when breathing, something we've done without thinking our entire lives, suddenly becomes a conscious effort. For many elderly people nearing their final months, this change is not only alarming but incredibly distressing. Shortness of breath, especially when it occurs while at rest, is one of the body's most urgent distress signals. It's as if each breath has to be earned, as if the air itself has become heavier, harder to pull in. It might start subtly, a slight wheeze when lying down, a feeling of tightness in the chest when talking for too long. But over time, these episodes can become more frequent, more intense, and harder to ignore. You might notice shoulders lifting with each inhale or an abrupt pause mid-sentence to catch a breath that can't quite come. What was once easy, reading aloud, laughing, even eating, now demands effort. This isn't the kind of shortness of breath that comes after a brisk walk or climbing stairs. This is different. It often lingers even in stillness. The lungs may no longer be efficiently transferring oxygen into the bloodstream. Fluid might be quietly building up in the chest. The tired and overworked heart may be pumping with less force. These internal changes aren't always heralded by pain. Instead, they whisper through each labored breath, through each pause that shouldn't be there. Emotionally, this symptom takes a toll. Struggling to breathe is terrifying. It breeds anxiety, restlessness, and a deep sense of vulnerability. Many older adults describe it as feeling trapped inside their own bodies, aware of their surroundings, but unable to react without discomfort or fear. For families witnessing this, it can be excruciating. You want to help, you reach for a fan, adjust a pillow, offer water, but sometimes nothing truly eases the struggle, and that helplessness cuts deep. When breath starts to falter, it's often the body's way of saying that its reserves are dwindling, that the systems we rely on without thinking are no longer keeping pace with life. But as the breaths become shallower, something else may start to appear more frequently, too frequently, recurring infections, unexplained fevers, and the quiet return of the hospital gown. If you are still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment a one below to let me know you are here. Now, let's continue with point number 4. 4. Recurring infections or hospitalization. There's a moment, often quiet and unremarked, when the body starts to lose its ability to defend itself. For many older adults, this moment becomes tangible through a string of repeated infections or hospital stays that feel more frequent with each passing month. What was once a simple cold now lingers persistently. A bladder infection recurs despite medication. A chest cough never fully clears, and slowly patterns begin to form. An emergency room visit here, a short hospital stay there, and then another and another. At first, we might explain it away. It's just the season, or they overdid it. But when these episodes become more frequent, when recoveries become slower, and complications more serious, it's time to ask harder questions. Why is this happening again? And why does each infection seem to take more out of them than the last? The immune system, once a powerful protector, weakens with age. But in the final stages of life, it can become almost non-existent. What was once routine, the body fighting off bacteria or viruses, becomes an epic undertaking. Older adults might develop pneumonia without ever leaving the house. A small cut can lead to a dangerous wound. Even the most common infection can spiral into confusion, fever, weakness, or sepsis. And each trip to the hospital isn't just about physical stress. It takes a toll on the mind, the spirit, and the will to keep fighting. Loved ones start to notice it too. Recoveries that once took days now take weeks. Medications seem less effective. Hospital discharges grow shorter, while hospital stays grow longer, and an unspoken fear starts to rise. What if the next infection is the one they can't come back from? Yet many older adults still try to push through quietly, with dignity and grace. They smile through discomfort, cling to routines, and hope for better days. But these repeated infections aren't just unlucky events. They're often the body's way of expressing its struggle, signaling that its strength is fading. And just as the body begins to fight these external invaders, something more intimate and perhaps more concerning may begin to slip away. The clarity of mind, the sharpness of thought, the very sense of self. 5. Severe confusion or disorientation. There's something particularly heartbreaking about watching a sharp, thoughtful mind begin to flicker like a lamp, uncertain whether it wants to stay on. For those of us who have lived a long and full life, our memories become our most prized possessions. Snapshots of love, laughter, lessons learned, and the people we cherish. So when confusion starts quietly replacing clarity, it can feel like losing a part of the soul. Severe confusion or disorientation in an older adult isn't just about forgetting a name or misplacing keys. It's something deeper, something that unsettles both the person experiencing it and those who love them. A mother who was once confident might suddenly forget where she is or who she's talking to. A proud grandfather might stare at his reflection, unsure if the face in the mirror is his own. The confusion might come in waves, some days clearer than others, but over time, it starts to take hold, and the moments of lucidity become fewer, more fragile. This decline isn't always linked to dementia. Often, it's the result of the body faltering internally, kidney or liver dysfunction releasing toxins into the bloodstream, depriving the brain of clean fuel. Infections like UTIs or pneumonia, common in the elderly, can trigger sudden delirium. Oxygen levels might quietly drop, and the mind starts to feel foggy, disconnected. Time becomes slippery. Faces seem unfamiliar. Even the most familiar tasks, like buttoning a shirt, using a fork, recognizing a spouse, can become alien territory. For families, it can be agonizing. You try to gently remind them of where they are or who you are. You hope that they will snap back to themselves, even if just for a moment. And sometimes they do. But sometimes the version of them that you knew so well. The storyteller, the advice giver, the strong presence in the room fades behind a veil of confusion that they can't lift. Yet it's important to know that this confusion isn't a failure of character, nor is it a sign of weakness. It's the mind's way of signaling that something deeper is shifting. The body and brain that were once so tightly linked are starting to lose sync. The person may feel frightened, disoriented, or strangely calm. There may be moments of agitation where they lash out, or stretches of stillness where they simply stare off, lost in a world that only they can see. These moments, as painful as they are, offer us the opportunity to slow down and meet our loved ones where they are, not where we wish they still were. To hold their hand, even if they no longer recognize ours. To speak softly, even if they no longer respond. To honor the spirit that still resides within, even if the mind has begun to drift. And as the mind begins to fade, the body often follows with its own quiet messages. When food no longer satisfies and the appetite for life itself begins to wane. 6. Decreased appetite and refusal to eat or drink. There's something profoundly unsettling about watching someone you love push their plate away, not because they're full or because they dislike the meal, but because they simply no longer feel the need to eat. For many older adults nearing the end of life, food, something that once provided comfort, tradition, and joy, starts to lose all meaning. Meals become smaller, sips of water less frequent, and eventually even the favorite treats, warm soup, soft bread, a little something sweet, are politely declined or left untouched. For families, this can feel like rejection. Don't you want to eat a little something? You need your strength. The instinct to nurture those we care for runs deep. Food is love. Food is connection. So when someone starts to refuse it, we often react with fear or frustration. But the truth is that this change isn't about stubbornness or sadness. It's physiological. It's the body's quiet signal that it's preparing to shut down. In the final stages of life, the body no longer processes food and water in the same way. The digestive system slows down. The metabolism drops. The sense of hunger fades. Forcing food at this stage can actually bring discomfort, nausea, bloating, or pain. Even water, something so simple, can become difficult to swallow. The body is rerouting its limited energy to keep vital organs functioning until it can no longer do so. Emotionally, this shift marks a change too. The act of sharing meals becomes less frequent. The conversations in the kitchen grow quieter. The family traditions that once centered around food feel different, almost empty. And for the person experiencing this loss of appetite, it can feel like a final letting go, not just of sustenance, but of the daily rituals that once shaped their life. And yet, during this time of deep vulnerability, there is still room for connection, even without the desire for food. The presence of a loved one by the bedside matters. The gesture of offering a spoonful, the warmth of holding a hand, the patience to sit in silence, these things nourish the spirit in ways that food no longer can. It's in these moments that many families start to understand that the journey is entering its final chapter. There's no schedule, no precise timeline, but when the body says no more, we must learn to listen. We must honor it with gentleness and without resistance. And sometimes, as the physical body slows, another change becomes visible, more subtle, but just as profound, a change in the skin, the cooling of the hands, a bluish tinge in the fingertips, the unmistakable signs that the end may be closer than we dare to admit. 7. Changes in skin color, cold extremities, or erratic vital signs. There comes a moment, often late in the journey, when the body speaks in silence, absent of words, without symptoms you can medicate or soothe away. Instead, the signals become visible, undeniable shifts in skin tone, the coolness of a hand that once held yours with warmth, or the quiet irregularity of a heartbeat that's carried a person through a lifetime. These signs, though often subtle at first, are among the most distinct indicators that the body is nearing its final farewell. You might start to notice fingertips turning pale or faintly blue, feet growing colder even when covered, skin appearing mottled, almost like a watercolor fading into dusk. These changes aren't simply about blood circulation, they're the body's natural response to its ultimate transition. Blood is being rerouted inward to protect the most vital organs, and the extremities, hands, feet, even lips, begin to reflect that silent shift. The pulse rate might slow down or become strangely rapid and erratic. Blood pressure may dip lower than ever before. Breathing patterns alter, with long pauses between breaths or moments of deep, labored inhalation followed by silence. These rhythms aren't always alarming in their presentation, but to those who know them, they speak volumes. For family and caregivers, this stage is one of profound emotional weight. There's often a feeling of helplessness. You see the signs, you sense the shift in the air, and you know something sacred, something final, is unfolding. And yet, there can still be beauty in these moments. An opportunity to sit quietly, to hold a hand without needing words, to simply be there, present, in love and reverence. These physical signs aren't harbingers of distress, they're indicators of transition. The body, in its wisdom, is letting go. It's no longer fighting, it's easing into stillness. And while it might seem like a dark and frightening time, it can also be a time of grace, of peace, of release. What matters most in these moments isn't what you say, but how you abide. Stay close, stay gentle, stay aware that you're witnessing one of life's most sacred thresholds. And now, as the signs deepen and the body prepares to return to stillness, we're left with the question that lives in every heart. Watching from the bedside, what do we do with the time that remains? What does it mean to live fully even as the end draws near? How does this final chapter embrace life with clarity, courage, and love? There comes a point in life when we must stop measuring time by years and begin measuring it by moments. The journey through aging isn't always gentle, and as the signs begin to appear, the quiet changes in appetite, energy, breath, or memory, they often carry a difficult truth to face, that the road ahead may be shorter than the road behind. But recognizing these signs isn't about giving up. It's not about surrendering. It's about love. It's about compassion. It's about a willingness to see clearly, even when the truth is heavy. When we acknowledge that a loved one may be nearing their final months, or even when we recognize it within ourselves, we aren't abandoning hope. We're opening the door to something far more meaningful: presence. Because what matters most in these sacred months isn't how much time we have, but how deeply we live. It's in the whispered conversations, the silent handholds, the shared memories recounted one more time. It's in forgiveness, in closure, in saying what's never been said. When we stop fighting time and begin to embrace the life that remains, even if it's fragile, we allow something truly beautiful to unfold. The lesson in all of this, perhaps the greatest lesson of all, is that death isn't the enemy. Silence, avoidance, that's the real tragedy, not dying, but leaving the important things unsaid, ignoring the signs, and pretending we have all the time in the world. So let's listen, truly listen, to what the body is telling us. Let's face these signs with courage and tenderness, not fear. Let's prepare not because we're afraid, but because we want to live the days, weeks, or months that remain with purpose, clarity, and dignity. And when the time comes, let it not be marked by confusion or regret, but by love, by grace, and by the quiet understanding that we have lived and let go with eyes wide open, hearts full, and nothing left unsaid. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and intend to apply to your life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with any health tips for the elderly. If not, feel free to comment with a 0. Your feedback means the world to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching. And here's to living life on your own terms. The human body, in its infinite wisdom, communicates even in the absence of spoken words. It doesn't rely on pronouncements or symptoms easily fixed with medication or a comforting embrace. Instead, the signals become undeniably apparent: visible transformations in skin pigmentation, the unnerving coolness of a hand that once radiated warmth, or the subtly erratic rhythm of a heart that has tirelessly sustained a person throughout their entire existence. These indicators, often initially understated, serve as profound revelations that the body is gently preparing for its ultimate departure. One might observe the fingertips assuming a pale or faintly bluish hue, the feet remaining perpetually cold despite being enveloped in warmth, and the skin exhibiting a mottled appearance, reminiscent of a delicate watercolor painting gradually fading into the twilight. These shifts extend beyond mere anomalies in blood circulation. They represent the body's innate and graceful response to its final transition. Blood is strategically redirected inward, safeguarding the most vital organs, while the extremities, the hands, feet, and even the lips, begin to mirror this unspoken transformation. The pulse may gradually decelerate or, conversely, exhibit an unexpectedly rapid and irregular cadence, accompanied by a precipitous drop in blood pressure plummeting to levels previously unrecorded. The patterns of respiration also undergo a metamorphosis, characterized by prolonged pauses between breaths or moments of deep, labored inhalation, followed by contemplative silence. These rhythms, though not always outwardly alarming, hold profound significance for those intimately familiar with them, conveying a wealth of information. For families and caregivers, this phase carries immense emotional weight, often accompanied by a pervasive sense of helplessness. One witnesses the unmistakable signs, senses the palpable shift in the atmosphere, and intuitively understands that something sacred, something irreversible, is unfolding. And yet, even amidst this solemnity, there exists the potential for profound beauty, an invitation to sit in quiet contemplation, to gently hold a hand without the need for words, to simply be present, exuding love and reverence. These physical manifestations are not malevolent omens portending distress. They are gentle indicators of transition, signaling the body's graceful surrender. In its inherent wisdom, the body is now relinquishing its earthly hold, no longer engaging in futile resistance, but rather gracefully surrendering to the serene embrace of stillness. And while this period may initially appear somber and unsettling, it can also be a profound time of grace, peace, and liberation. The paramount consideration during these precious moments is not what one articulates, but rather how one remains steadfast, providing unwavering support. Stay close, stay gentle, stay attuned to the profound significance of witnessing one of life's most sacred and transformative thresholds. And now, as these transformative signs deepen and the body prepares to gracefully return to the tranquil embrace of stillness, we find ourselves grappling with the question that resides within the heart of every individual vigilantly watching from the bedside. How do we make the most of the time that remains? What does it truly mean to live a life brimming with purpose and authenticity, even as the specter of mortality looms ever closer? How can we ensure that this final chapter embraces life with unwavering clarity, steadfast courage, and boundless love? There arrives a poignant moment in the grand tapestry of existence when we must consciously shift our perspective, transcending the conventional measurement of time in years, and instead embracing the profound richness and significance of each fleeting moment. The odyssey through the twilight years is not invariably gentle or serene, and as the subtle signs begin to manifest, the quiet alterations in appetite, the fluctuations in energy levels, the challenges with respiration, or the gradual erosion of memory, they often convey a disquieting truth that demands recognition. The path that stretches ahead may be considerably shorter than the one that lies behind. However, acknowledging these signs is by no means an act of surrender or resignation. Rather, it is an affirmation of the profound power of love, the boundless capacity for compassion, and the unwavering willingness to perceive reality with unclouded clarity, even when the weight of truth feels almost unbearable. When we lovingly acknowledge that a cherished loved one is approaching the culmination of their earthly journey, or when we courageously recognize this profound truth within ourselves, we are not relinquishing hope. Instead, we are deliberately opening the door to something infinitely more meaningful: the transformative power of presence. For the true essence of these sacred months lies not in the quantity of time we possess, but rather in the immeasurable depth of the life we choose to inhabit. It is found in the tender whispers shared in hushed tones, the silent strength conveyed through gentle handholds, the cherished memories lovingly recounted and relived with each retelling. It resides in the act of forgiveness, the attainment of closure, and the courageous utterance of words that have long remained unspoken. When we consciously cease our futile battle against the relentless march of time and instead choose to wholeheartedly embrace the life that remains, even in its fragile state, we create the space for something genuinely beautiful and profoundly transformative to unfold. The overarching lesson inherent in all of this, perhaps the most significant lesson of all, is that death is not an adversarial force to be feared and resisted. Rather, it is the pervasive silence, the deliberate avoidance that constitutes the true tragedy, not the act of dying itself, but the painful reality of leaving behind a legacy of important things left unsaid, consciously ignoring the subtle signs, and clinging to the illusion that we possess an infinite expanse of time. Therefore, let us endeavor to truly listen, to deeply attune ourselves to the subtle language of the body. Let us confront these signs with unwavering courage and profound tenderness, consciously choosing to banish fear from our hearts. Let us meticulously prepare, not out of trepidation, but out of an unwavering desire to imbue the days, weeks, or months that remain with profound purpose, unwavering clarity, and unyielding dignity. And when the appointed time inevitably arrives, may it not be marred by confusion or lingering regret, but rather be illuminated by the radiant light of love, the serene embrace of grace, and the quiet understanding that we lived fully, we released gracefully, and we faced our mortality with eyes wide open, hearts overflowing with gratitude, and with nothing of significance left unspoken. These profound lessons are intended to serve as a catalyst, inspiring you to embrace a life lived fully and authentically, according to your own unique values and aspirations. Now, I am genuinely eager to hear from you. Please take a moment to reflect deeply on your own life experiences and share one profound lesson you have learned along the way and how you intend to actively incorporate it into your daily life. Let us collectively support one another on this deeply personal and transformative journey towards embracing these profound truths with open hearts and unwavering resolve. If you found this presentation to be enlightening and valuable, I kindly request that you leave a comment sharing any health-related tips or insights that you believe would benefit the elderly population. Alternatively, if you do not have any specific tips to share, please feel free to simply leave a comment containing the number 0. Your invaluable feedback is greatly appreciated. And finally, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to gain access to a wealth of thought-provoking and enriching content similar to this. Thank you sincerely for taking the time to watch, and here's to embracing life on your own terms, living each day with purpose, passion, and unwavering authenticity.